Our DSP team has been heavily focused on political advertising, all the way before the beginning of this year. We've built out a lot of custom workflows specific for political advertisers. And there's a lot of kind of regulation out there, even state by state regulations that you really need to have some expertise on if you're an advertiser or a technology provider like us. So we built out a lot of custom workflows so that buyers could kind of upload the right information around buyer or different registration forms if needed for certain states. And all of our technology seamlessly makes sure that you can run the right advertising in the right areas, and the right transparency is provided through reporting as well. So we built a lot of technology for buyers, specifically for political advertising, and it's been quite successful and been ramping up, ever since the beginning of the year. And between Labor Day and the election is obviously a very hot time for political as well. So if you're a political buyer on our DSP, you're free to buy any inventory that we integrate with, and a lot of our buyers go out and make their own deals with different sellers. But one of the key challenges with political buying is the supply access, making sure that you can actually get access to all the inventory you want. As a political buyer, a lot of times sellers may be blocking that type of advertising if they're not quite sure on the rules for where they can themselves serve political advertising. So having the right supply access is a really important part of our DSP story for political buyers. We've got something like 150 always-on deals, like PMPs, that we curated with our sellers that accept political advertising. And then we've also got a couple exclusive publisher partnerships where they only accept political advertising from our DSP. And the big news that we announced previously was with Warner Media here. They've historically never allowed PMPs for political buyers across their inventory, but we showed them all the tools that we have on the DSP, and then we built a couple others custom just for them. And it's really give them a lot of confidence and trust to allow political advertising. Probably the biggest trend we're seeing is a push towards OTT and CTV for political advertisers. And there's a general trend for this across the industry and across all advertising, but particularly for political, it's something that's growing quite rapidly. And I think all of our political buyers and all political advertisers out there are trying to find more efficient and effective ways to get on big screens. They know it's kind of the best way to get their message across to different voters in different regions. And so we see a lot of that for sure. And we've invested quite a lot, and we've built a lot of custom tech, and we have a strong commitment to political buyers this season and sellers that we work with, such as Warner Media. And so my hope is that a lot of these buyers can find their right audiences, be able to serve them the right messaging, and quite honestly, just do away with a lot of the pain points that has historically resided with political advertising. You really, in the past, it really takes a lot of know-how and a lot of manual roll up your sleeves effort to know which states to run, which types of messaging are allowed by different publishers or different state or federal regulations. And we try and use our technology to make that as seamless as possible.
But let's talk about the DSP working in political with Warner Media, if you could kind of walk us through a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So it all starts with our buyers that are using our DSP and focused on political advertising. Like I mentioned before, they have kind of a custom political workflow that they go through and upload the right information or registration forms. And then they have specific political creatives that they upload to our system. And our platform has always done kind of a lot of standard checks on that creative, making sure that it's labeled correctly and it's the proper category, and we have the right advertiser categorized. But we built some custom tools for Warner Media so that they could actually set up some PMPs on our SSP. And what happens is all those political creatives, they need to be uploaded into our system. They need to be hosted with us, so we have the raw video files. It's not a third party. And then we have a separate process where kind of kicks it over to Warner Media to make sure that they can check a lot of those political creatives that are going to buy on their PMPs. And they have, their own set of reviews that they do on all these political video creatives to make sure that it meets their bar that they're essentially trying to make sure that they meet, and they have for a lot of their broadcasting. So it's kind of a different set of standards that they have compared to the rest of programmatic, and really making sure it can meet a lot of the bars that they have, so that they can run on their CTV inventory, and it's held to the same bar as a lot of their broadcast inventory. So once those creatives are approved by Warner Media, which is usually a couple of hours, then those PMPs and the buyers are allowed to run on those PMPs that Warner Media has made. And we've built some specialized tech that if those creatives ever change, or if there's minor changes to those creatives, the buyer is not allowed to kind of like change their message around. It actually kicks off making sure that Warner Media reviews those assets again to make sure that mid-campaign the buyer doesn't change to something that Warner Media did not approve.